Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In our last video, building on it, we created year-to-date and fiscal year-to-date measures for sales. And a common use case is now to have this dynamically select any measure and replicate any year-to-date values or this year versus last year year-to-date values for a given time period. So we'll be using field parameters and calculation groups to perform this today. So let's get to it. Call it CG and FP, so calculation set field parameters, and give us some more real estate on this page before using tabular editor. I prefer tabular editor for calculation groups. However, in the model view, you are able to click on the model tab within data and create new calculation groups here as well. So whatever you prefer, I will use tabular editor too. So in tables, I will create a new calculation group and call it time intelligence. So I'm gonna now expand that and create my first calculation item, which is selected measure. And we can call this original value. All right. So let's talk about our this year to date. So in fact, let's do a fiscal year to date. So we're going to use calculate and we're going to calculate the selected measure and we're going to use dates year to date function and the dim date table, the date column from the dim date table, and we're going to say our year ends on March 31st. So that's our this year to date fiscal year to date formula. And now we want to branch out and create our last year fiscal year to date calculation item. So the way we do that is I'm going to use the first calculate, and in the first filter argument, I will take date add and use the date dimension and go back 12 months. And that would commit to our first calculate formula. And then we'll calculate in another calculate, we will wrap the year to date function to take it back, um, for the fiscal year to date. So give it a bit of formatting, and that is our last year fiscal year to date formula. So I'm committing to that and saving it. I will quickly see what errors we have. We missed a bracket over here, and now our warning is gone. So let's see what these measures give us on our canvas before we proceed. So let's drag in dates. And we'll bring in our name. So it currently breaks because we don't have any selected measure yet. So I select sales, and this should give us let's take it as a matrix for more readability. All right, so this gives us the original value this year, fiscal year to date, which resets at the end of the fiscal year. So that's March end. So you see the reset happen here. And then for last year values, because it doesn't show right now, let's add a filter for our table to have the next fiscal year that we would need. So let's say fiscal year 09, so that all of them have some values. All right, so let's quickly just reorder our calculation items. So I'll give this ordinal value as 0. Let us have fiscal year to date as 1, and then last year as 2. Or I'll just grab this 2, and then I'll save that. All right, so now this will rearrange when we refresh. So that's first part of the solution where we've created our calculation groups to reflect our year-to-date values this year and last year. Now the next part is how can we make this dynamic for any selected measure? And we'll be using field parameters for this. So I click on the modeling tab and select fields. For now, let's call this as metric. And in the key measures folder, I will open up totals and select, let's say, sales, cost, and profit as an example. So now that we have the slicer up on the page, I will convert this to a tile and give a single selection for this slicer. And nothing happens just yet. We need to connect our field parameter with our table. So now that we have metric in the values, now I can switch between cost, and I'm just going to zoom out a bit. So now we can see our totals change depending on our metric. So there you have it. We can now extend this calculation group to have multiple columns for um, year-to-date variances and dollars and percents, get percents of total, so on and so forth. This will be provided in the code samples attached at the top of the video. And in case of questions, you know what to do. Put them in the comments below. For more such content, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much.